What's up guys, I'm George Hoff, and today I'm Maker's Best Friend. I'm going to be sharing some tips with you to make your shop more efficient when you're selling on Etsy or whatever way you guys sell your products. These are some tips to make it a lot more efficient. Check it out. I'm going to walk you through how I streamlined my shop process to make 4 cork dartboards in 2 days to fulfill Christmas orders. I first had the back panels of the boards pre-cut at my local hardware store to eliminate the use of my table saw and save a lot of time up front. Then I set the stage in my shop so that I would be able to get to work without having to stop to move things out of the way. If you're a cleaner shop owner than me, you may be able to skip this step. Then, since each of the dartboards are the same size, I was able to pile them together and make all of the cuts at once. This not only saves time, but also ensures that each piece is the same size for when I make the frames later on. And that's several reasons why you shouldn't use old gear and try to force equipment a little bit too much. Forced it way too much. This thing got loose in the middle. It actually broke the blade from the nut. Thank God it was in the wood so that it didn't really free up, and you know, the way this is protected, it would be pretty hard for it to get out there. But damn, gotta learn my lessons. Yikes. I found that it was helpful to do each step at once. So I cut all the pieces for the back at once, and then I sanded each of them all at once, and then I'll go on to do all the frames all at once. So each part I'm doing step by step for the entire process. Another quick time saver you can do is when using your miter saw to cut the edges. You can actually double up on the actual pieces. Like I have here, I have 2 here. This actually works out better because it helps me understand how much I have to cut away for each piece and how I could use the entire length of that wood. That way it won't be as wasteful. Again, saving kind of money when you're doing bulk orders like this. Okay, here we go. Here's a part where the amount of tools I had in the shop, or lack thereof, limited me in being able to streamline the process. I thought I had enough clamps to glue up all the frames, but I had to leave one board undone to be glued up the next time. So, as always, you can never have enough clamps. Make sure you guys have enough for all the boards or projects that you guys are trying to get done at once. Next, I went on to stain the back of the boards and all the frames before gluing any of the corks or the dartboards. This saves a lot of time from having to tape off the corks to ensure there's no spillover, so always consider the order of operations and how you're building your product. So another trick I'm going to be doing when actually using the corks on the boards for things like the cross pattern design and where the corks actually take up and cover most of the board, I'm actually going to put the glue straight to the wood, kind of spread out in a certain area, and I can just put the corks a lot faster that way. For the diamond design, you know, the diamond's going across, so there's going to be a lot of spaces, a lot of the wood will show. I'm not going to put glue down because that looks bad at the end of the day. So for those, it'll take a little bit longer, but here we go. I'm going to just start. We've stained everything. I've positioned all of the dartboards in the center of all the boards here, and now I'm just going to start gluing all the corks, and hopefully after that we can attach the dartboard, drill the holes to put the darts on it, attach the wall mount to the back of it, and then we'll pack it up for shipping. Let's get started. In another effort to save time, to fill little gaps inside of the cork dartboard, these are gaps where when I'm doing the design, the corks might not line up, so I have to actually cut up pieces of corks to fit into them. And it's hard to make it look natural, but I actually have to use a knife or some type of blade before, and that took up a lot of time. To save time, especially when doing efforts like this where I'm doing 4 at a time or multiple dartboards, I actually bought a scroll saw. The scroll saw is not only going to be useful for this, so I'm really excited. It's actually going to be great for some wood art projects and some other wood cutting projects. But for this, it really saves a lot of time. So when there's parts of the dartboard that are like this, where there's going to be space at the bottom edge, I used to have to cut these in half, but now I use the scroll saw to cut these pieces, and now I could squeeze them in like this. It looks a little bit natural. It's the best that can really happen to get this to look good. So these will squeeze in, and when it's tight like that, where the pieces are actually coming out, that's a good sign. That means there's a lot of pressure across the design, and that's actually going to help hold this dartboard in. So that's another time saver, and it's another tool inside of my workshop that helps me for other projects that I'll have coming along. And it's not too expensive to buy one. This one was pretty cheap off of Amazon. I'll link it below if you guys are interested. But that's just another tip for you guys. As you know, as you go through making multiple products, if you open up a shop or for Christmas time you want to make a lot of one thing, think about the things that take the longest amount of time and streamline it. Another really great tip for anybody doing any type of woodworking, when you get the wood glue in the big jugs, when you get the wood glue in the big jugs like this, this is 1 gallon of it. It's great. It saves you a lot of money compared to those small ones. And they last a very long time. The problem is, at the end of it, you are actually going to have a lot of glue on the bottom that you're not going to be able to get out. And when you have a product you know you can use all of it for, you can actually take a knife, cut open the bottom of it, just like I did here, and you have all this glue at the bottom that you can now use for the project. Another cool tip for you guys, I hope you guys enjoy. Let's get this last board finished and then we'll be done. Here we go. So I got all of the dartboards packed up now. I didn't really record at the very end of putting this all together. It got really hectic, so I decided I had to get these out in time for Christmas, so I kind of put the recording to the side. A great tip I've learned from shipping and packaging, I've always kind of done it one by one before, and that's okay because you kind of do it, but the thing you start to realize is that you can't really save time when you're packaging a lot of things when they're this size, but there is something you can do. You can actually buy a box that's ready for it. So these boxes actually have to cut a lot and tape together, and it's a big mess and it makes it really hard. But I'm the one that sets the size for these dartboards. So what I'm going to do in the future is I'm actually going to find a shipping box, and I use the ones normally for mirrors or something, so it says fragile and all that kind of stuff on it. You can actually find a shipping box that's ready to go, so I don't have to really mess with the box. I'll make the size, whatever fits into that box, it'll still be a good product at the end of the day, and it'll make my life a lot easier for the shipping. So that's a really good tip for you guys to check out. I hope all of these tips in this style of video of showing you guys behind the scenes of how I do my shipping for my Etsy store is really helpful for you guys, especially those of you who have your own Etsy store or want to start your own. I'd love to hear more and more tips. If you guys have it of your own, go ahead and comment those below. If you enjoyed this video and if you want to see more, go ahead and like and subscribe below. I really appreciate it. And as always, thanks again for watching. I'm actually going to be doing an after show for all of those Patreon members out there. There's going to be an after show. We'll go a little bit more into discussing this whole Etsy process and having your own shop. So for my Patreon followers, I'll see you guys over there.